Hi guys. So far we have gone over together an introduction to fractions as well as how to add and subtract fractions that have common denominators. So now that we know how to do that, we're going to start looking into how to add and then subtract fractions that have uncommon denominators. So just for a quick review, please remember that the denominator is the number on the bottom of a fraction and the numerator is the one on top. So in this first example that I have for you, what you will see is I took two fairly common fractions that we see pretty often. One is 1/2 or 1/2, and the other one is 1/4 or 1/4. So my goal right now is to figure out how to add these. So I have this visual for you to look at, and I've set the problem up already, and what I'm going to go ahead and do is in 1/2 or 1/2, I'm going to shade in one of these boxes blue to match the numerator of 1. And then over here in the other problem, 1/4 or 1/4, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shade in one of these 4 boxes to represent the fraction 1/4. So now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw another box just like this, and then I am going to add in some lines just so that my box is they look even and they look nice, just like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this 1/2 and this 1/4. And what I can visually see when I do this is that if I were to add these boxes together, I would end up with the right half. Oh, sorry guys. Change back to my pen. I would end up with the right half of the box shaded because of the fraction 1/2, and I would also have to shade this bottom left box because of the fraction 1/4. So now what I can see is I have 3 of my 4 boxes shaded, which makes the fraction 3/4 or 3/4. So now I know that 1/2 plus 1/4 equals 3/4. All right, so that was a really great visual way to figure out how to add fractions. However, as our numbers get larger, that is not always going to be a practical way for us to add them. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the mathematical way to add them. I'm going to go ahead and take a moment and I'm going to box my denominators in green as I have been doing. And I'm going to go ahead and box the numerators in blue as I have been doing. All right. So now what I would like to call your attention to before I do anything else is right above these numbers, you will see a times table, which is right here. So in order to find common denominators, it's very helpful if we know our multiplication facts. However, there are times where maybe we can't think of a fact, or maybe it's just really hard for us to keep all those numbers in our brain. So I'm going to show you what you can do and if you cannot remember all of your multiplication facts. So when we look at 1/2 and 1/4, we have to ask ourselves, what can we do to this 2 right here to turn it into a 4? And if we just cannot remember our multiplication facts, what we can do is we can look to this 2 right here and start going across just like this until we see a common denominator, in which case is going to be 4. Or not a common denominator, but something that they share. So now that I have identified that 2 and 4 both have 4 in common, what I have to ask myself next is, what do I do to turn this 2 into a 4? And if I'm not sure, I can look back to my multiplication chart and I can go, so I've already gone to the right. Now I'm going to look up and I will see that I have a 2. And what this is basically telling me is that 2 times 2 equals 4. So when I did that, I multiplied times 2 to get 4. And so now what I do to the top or to the bottom or to the numerator or denominator, I also have to do to the numerator. So because I timed 2 by 2 to get 4, I also have to do 1 times 2 to get 2. And so now what I have is what we call an equivalent fraction, or simply stated, that just means that that 1 over 2 is equal to 2 over 4. Sorry guys, I'm trying to be really careful with erasing that. All right. So now I can see that I can put this 4 right down here. If I want to get really technical, what I would do to have this 4 be equivalent to 4 is I would times by 1 and it would stay the same because we all know that 4 times 1 is 4. And then same thing as last time. What I do to the denominator, I have to do to the numerator. So in that case, I would do 1 times 1 still equals 1. And now that my denominators are equal, they are both 4, what I can go ahead and do is I can just keep my 4 the same, because remember our denominators do not change when we add and subtract. And then I can just add straight across. And I know that 2 plus 1 equals 3. So that is how we add with uncommon denominators.